speaking of Donald Trump, I think his brain is probably officially fried at this point. He was just recently on with this other cuckoo clock, Mark Levin. And so you got two nutballs talking to each other. And he made some news with his interview with Mark Levin recently, Lana, because sounded like to me he made a very interesting confession. Let's take a look.
Ever heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it? You get indicted and your poll numbers go up. When people get indicted, your poll numbers go down.
So you have every right, Lana, to interfere in an election. And whoever heard of getting indicted for that? Well, you probably, for the most part, you don't, because most people don't interfere in elections, but
I mean, he has immunity. He can say what he wants to say. What difference does it make?
Yeah, I don't know. In that same interview, he also said, these are the kind of things. He opens his mouth and he talks and he says shit, and you're just like, wait, what did you just say? This is him talking about how Kamala Harris treated Mike Pence.
I agreed to all these things that I normally wouldn't agree to. Now they have Kamala, who they say has many deficiencies, but she's a nasty person.
They say
that. The way she treated Mike Pence was horrible. The way she treats people is horrible. But the way she treated Justice Kavanaugh during that hearing, in the history of Congress, nobody's been treated that way.
First of all, everything's grandiose in the history of Congress. Nobody's ever been treated that way. If you do want some incredibly great entertainment, go back and watch Kamala Harris question Judge Kavanaugh during those hearings. It was a masterclass. But Lana, it was her that treated Mike Pence terribly.
Yeah, it's not him having them get a noose and trying to have Pence assassinated. Like it's her. Yeah.
I mean, he literally called the man out in the middle of the insurrection, saying he did not have the guts to do, and inflamed a bunch of what I call flying monkeys. That the Wicked Witch had her flying monkeys and just did whatever the Wicked Witch said, and the Wicked Witch tweeted out that Mike Pence doesn't have the guts to do it, so flying monkeys get to work, and they were going to, they were going to get him.
And Trump's like, "Stay where you are, Mike. Where are you? I'm gonna have a car come get you." And Mike's like, "Oh hell no, you're not."
Yeah. It's like it would be like one of the mafia movies, where you just drove him out into the middle of the desert. He's going past the exit that he thought he was going past. They're like, "Wait, where are we going?"
I mean, just imagine how bad it had to be, and the things that Pence heard and saw, for Pence to have the presence of mind to say, "You know what? No, don't send anyone for me. I'm good right here. I'll figure it out." Like that, he knew.
And he is going around. He's saying that there's in no good conscience can he vote for Trump, which it's good. There is a lot of people who would like to see Mike Pence and people like Mitt Romney and George Bush and all these guys come out and say, we are voting for Kamala Harris. We got to get this country back, which, again, if you're a real Republican, you would think that's what you want, because if you got Trump back in office, I don't know what delusion they're under into thinking that in the next 4 years they would be able to reel back into a regular Republican Party. I think at this point, it should be pretty clear that if Trump wins, I mean, that whole Republican Party, the platform has changed for a very, very, very long time.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason and a strategy behind it. I'm not sure what it is, but in that same interview.
Mhm.
This is Mark Levin, and he's getting to the bottom of Donald Trump and how he makes his tough decisions.
The American people, I think a lot of them want to know, how do you come by your decisions and how do you manage in the Oval Office?
Well, I think that I learned, like I talked about the truckers, I learned about trucks, and by talking to them, in 5 minutes, I knew as much as I'm going to have to know to make decisions that are going to be earth-shattering for transportation, for moving cargo and moving a lot of other things. I learned from having interaction. Some politicians don't have interaction. Some politicians aren't smart. They can't have interactions. I think you have
They criticized, some people did, criticize Kamala Harris for going to CNN for her first interview, which again, we've discussed. CNN is not the same as Fox News. They're not a propaganda network. Dana Bash doesn't even seem to be a big Harris fan. She doesn't come across as anything, like that. But Trump always runs to these guys that will sit there and listen to his nonsensical answers. Is there any part of that guy listening to him going, all right, just pretend like what he's saying is really,
Makes sense. He said he talks to trucks.
yeah.
He said he talks to trucks.
Yep, talks to trucks, and he listens to trucks, and trucks will tell him what he needs to know to make earth-shattering. But
That's what he
it's just
does.
5 minutes. It's just 5 minutes. He listens to it. People want this guy to be president. He says he listens for 5 minutes and makes earth-shattering decisions. There's been plenty of reports that he doesn't even read briefings on top secret documents. He doesn't do anything, and
Right.
people think he's smart and they think he's in control, and they also think, Lana, that he's a godly man. And you're going to hear his nonsensical answer when he was asked about his relationship with God.
Oh my God, more.
You go to church.
Oh God, no, he doesn't.
You believe in God.
No, he doesn't.
Has this further your belief, your commitment, and obviously God,
Oh boy.
in addition to that chart,
Yeah.
saved your life. He has a purpose for you.
Oh,
Do you think about these things?
Well, I think you believe more because when you speak to experts, like my sons who are shooting experts, but when you speak to experts, they said there was no
sons are
chance that
shooting
he could have missed
experts?
from that distance.
His sons are shooting experts?
no, they are not. But
They
I think,
might
they saw a couple of YouTube videos on shooting, and I know they go out and do some hunting. So
They hunt helpless animals.
correct. Yeah. But I love his, when he's sitting there and he's asking, you go to church, you go to, and you could see Trump almost in his head spinning, like, okay, get on with the bullshit. I mean, let me come up with my bullshit answer so I can satisfy these poor people who think that God
Exactly.
sent me here to save them.
Right. Then his whole
I
tone
think he was
changes.
hurried.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think
Yeah.
he was
it's-
rushed because people were starting to say, like, there's a guy up there with a gun.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, you got to ask. I mean, I said this on the last show. God, so God made him president in 2016, is what I heard. Then he lost in 2020, and then God saved him from a bullet so he can win the election this year. So why didn't God just make him president in 2020? If he wanted to save the country, was God like, you know what? Let's give Joe Biden a shot. Let's see how he does. And then if he does badly, then what I'll do is I'll set up some guy to shoot Donald Trump, but I will move the bullet into some other dude who has a family and kill him. And I'm going to save him so he can win the election in 2024. Now, if he doesn't win the election, then God's got some answering to do.
It's just really stupid.
Yeah. It should be insulting to religious people.
It should be. Like, can God explain why we haven't seen any medical records from
Right.
this? Like, where are those records at? What is happening with the records?
You
No one's
said it
talking
before.
about this.
You know him. If there was, he would be showing off the scar. He'd be showing off.
Exactly.
His ear is perfectly fine. There is not one even little mark on his ear.
Nothing. He would have been, if he got hit with a bullet, even grazed, he would have been on that record. So that meant there was glass.
Does an ear grow back?
If you're a worm, maybe he's a worm.
I mean, I'm kind of asking seriously. I mean, if a piece of your ear comes off, is it gone or does it grow back like up in that part?
Did Evander Holyfield's ear grow back?
I don't know. I don't know. Does anybody in the comments or is anybody watching know? I have no idea. Because I can tell you, that motherfucker's ear is all the way back.
I don't know. I don't think so. Ask his son is there. I think they're doctors too. Not only are they sharpshooters, they're doctors.
Shooting experts. And you're like I said, probably medical experts as well.